Greetings, citizens of the United States of America. This is a message from Anonymous. It is an intense time right now in the United States, as the country is in the aftermath of a contested election between two rival candidates, with two opposing groups of supporters that are in the midst of a culture war. The political theater plays out like a soap opera, with new revelations coming in through the news on an hourly basis to keep people glued to the screens. Despite all of the anxiety about the ceremonial transfer of power from one aristocrat to another, and what that could mean for the next 4 years, the system will continue to operate as it always has regardless of who is chosen to be the temporary spokesperson for the ruling class. These candidates may offer people a different aesthetic, but regardless of their rhetoric or their own personal beliefs, their agenda will be set by a collection of unelected figures who have lifelong careers in intelligence agencies, the military-industrial complex, the Federal Reserve, along with a secretive network of corporate lobbyists and private donors. Additionally, they also have to contend with infighting among elected officials who prevent anything from getting done, and thus ensuring that the system remains the same. All of these interests factor into the decisions that presidents make long before they consider the needs or desires of the American people or even their own personal opinions. The president may have executive power, but they are only in office for a few years, and their influence behind the scenes is often overshadowed by those entrenched in powerful bureaucratic positions. This dynamic has been made abundantly clear by the lack of systemic change to take place under two presidents that were elected on promises of making radical changes to the police system, Barack Obama and Donald Trump. We have already seen Barack Obama's promises of hope and change go up in smoke, as his 2 terms were nothing more than a continuation of business as usual. This year, Obama campaigned with Joe Biden, and his association with Obama is likely the only reason that he got as many votes as he did. Many Democrats are hoping that they will have an Obama 3.0 presidency under Joe Biden, and in many ways, they will, because the president never influenced policy that much to begin with. Business as usual even continued into the Trump administration as well, and he has done very little to drain the swamp in a meaningful way as he promised during his 2016 campaign. Despite the personality differences and public rivalries between the 2 most recent presidents, Obama and Trump, they did experience some of the same challenges while attempting to influence policy during their time in office, especially when it came to foreign policy. Both Obama and Trump campaigned on significantly reducing the presence of the U.S. military in the Middle East, and many inside accounts confirm that these desires were genuine, but once they got into office, they essentially learned that the generals would not allow them to scale back the war on terror. This is not speculation but represents the first-hand experience of White House insiders Ben Rhodes and John Bolton. Ben Rhodes wrote a book about his time as a speechwriter for Obama titled The World as It Is, which details how many of Obama's progressive aspirations were impossible to achieve in the political system. Likewise, John Bolton, the notorious neoconservative warhawk who served as National Security Advisor under Donald Trump from 2018 to 2019, also wrote a book about his time in the White House. Bolton's book, The Room Where It Happened, detailed his disagreements with Trump about removing troops from Afghanistan and bringing conflicts to an end in the Middle East. Bob Woodward's book, Fear, also described how Trump was unable to overrule high-ranking generals on foreign policy, despite passionately arguing for troop withdrawals. It is not just foreign policy either. There is a wide range of domestic issues involving the economy, housing, and education that need to be addressed on a systemic level. Unfortunately, these very important and pressing issues are being ignored, and they are being deprived of important resources and coverage because electoral politics have hijacked the national conversation. $14 billion was spent in this year's elections, between both presidential and congressional races in the United States. This money could have gone towards funding solutions to the problems that voters care about, the things that can mean the difference between life and death in their communities, but instead, the money was thrown away on campaign signs, media production, and travel expenses for wealthy aristocrats who don't care about the people that they are promising to help. It is time for us to start to focus our time, energy, and resources towards the specific solutions that we want to see in our communities, instead of putting our faith in a system that has failed us time and time again. We are Anonymous. We are Legion. Expect us.